Okay, let's unpack this. You've sent over a transcript from Without a Crystal Ball on YouTube, and it's all about the upcoming episodes of Sister Wives.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty significant shift is happening, doesn't it? Especially with the focus turning to Garrison Brown's passing.
Definitely. So our goal here really is to dig into what this transcript reveals, get a, solid understanding of the situation.
And figure out the key takeaways as this whole long-running story keeps evolving.
It's quite something when reality TV bumps up against such a real, profound loss like
It
this.
really is. And the YouTube host, Kody, she highlights that right away, the sort of delicate situation of documenting this,
Yeah.
in a reality show context.
Exactly. So Katie starts by laying out the schedule. We're looking at 9 episodes for the second half of the season.
That's right. 5 new ones and then 4 tell-all segments.
Okay, so people should mark their calendars for April 20th, 10 p.m.
Right. That structure itself is kind of interesting, isn't it? 5 episodes sort of building up to these individual reflections in the tell-alls.
Suggests a very deliberate approach, maybe, unfolding the events and the emotions.
Yeah, possibly.
But here's where it gets, well, really interesting. The big news. TLC will be addressing Garrison Brown's death.
Mm-hmm.
And the video mentions there's some hesitation among some of his siblings about this.
Right, pointing out that Garrison himself wasn't exactly a huge fan of the show.
Yeah, even sent text messages to producers about it, apparently. So, boom, right off the bat, you have this really complex layer
You do. A show dealing with a very real tragedy.
involving someone who had his own issues with the show itself.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, that's a huge point to consider, isn't it? When someone who had, let's say, mixed feelings about being part of this public narrative passes away,
Yeah.
it just raises all these questions about how that narrative should or even can be continued.
And the fact that some siblings reportedly preferred his death wasn't included at all.
Just adds another layer of, well, difficulty.
Okay, so the official synopsis for these episodes that dropped March 20th, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives us a bit more of a glimpse.
Yeah, it does. It mentions Christine and David, for instance.
Right, talking about her difficult history with polygamy. The YouTube host, Katie, she thinks this might actually delve into some of the less comfortable stuff.
The darker side, maybe? The less sanitized version of their former life?
Do you think this will offer like a genuinely new perspective?
Yeah.
Or is it going to revisit familiar ground?
It's possible. I mean, it's possible we'll see Christine offering more specifics now that she's fully, completely stepped away, exploring those past difficulties. It could give us a deeper understanding of her choices now and her view on polygamy itself.
It would be interesting to hear specifics, wouldn't it? What made it difficult?
Definitely.
Then there's Janelle and her family. They're apparently settling down in North Carolina,
Yeah, with plans to buy land and start something called Tada Farms.
which the video host says is a bit of a mystery right now.
Oh. It sounds like Janelle's really trying to forge a completely new path.
It does.
It's intriguing seeing her focus on building something new after, well, everything with Kody. The ambiguity around Ta Farms in the analysis
Yeah,
might just mean it's still, developing. It's early days, maybe,
makes sense. And
Yeah.
Mary, we hear she'll be reflecting on her relationship with Robin.
which has often been pretty strained, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's a dynamic we've watched for a long, long time.
Mm.
So, hearing Mary's current thoughts, especially with all the changes, that'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Given that long history, Mary's reflections could offer some, well, significant insights into how things are shifting now, family-wise, particularly as those individual relationships have changed so much.
And then there's this moment that just seems potentially tense. The synopsis mentions the family celebrating Aurora's baptism.
Mm.
And the video host, she strongly suspects only Kody and Robin would have actually been there.
Wow. Yeah, that observation really just underscores the deep, deep divisions that have formed, doesn't it?
Totally. A major family event, supposedly, but likely only a tiny fraction of the family present. That speaks volumes.
It really does.
Okay, so then we get to the main focus. The family grappling with the tragic loss of Garrison.
Right. The synopsis uses phrases like moments of reflection and honor.
Yeah, where the family will come together, share memories, visit significant places, commemorate his life,
And then after those episodes, we get the 4 individual tell-alls.
offering a deeper look into everyone's struggles and changes. So it really seems like a significant chunk of this season is dedicated to Garrison.
The language they're using, it suggests, a respectful intention in addressing his passing, but, like the YouTube host points out, the complexities around his own relationship with the show and the family dynamics
Right.
will likely make the reality of those moments, well, a lot more nuanced.
You're right. And that without a crystal ball analysis, it doesn't just stop at summarizing. It raises some really critical points about the show's past.
About how it's portrayed polygamy over the years.
Exactly. The host talks about how the show might have maybe inadvertently normalized or um, sanitized a situation that actually had really negative consequences for some people.
That's a heavy critique. She mentions hearing from people who've left polygamy.
Yeah, and advocates working against abuse within those communities. And apparently, sister wives comes up a lot in those conversations.
Which is an important perspective, right? It goes way beyond just the Brown family's specific story.
It does. It makes you think about the broader impact.
It's important to consider how any lifestyle portrayed on reality TV can have these wider implications. The suggestion from the YouTube host is that, by maybe focusing so much on the interpersonal drama.
The fight's over Kody, basically.
Right. The show might have given an incomplete picture of polygamy, potentially overlooking some systemic challenges or negative experiences that can be part of it.
The critique specifically hits on the show, allegedly, avoiding talk of abuse, not bringing in outside experts.
And just sticking to that narrative of women vying for Kody's attention without digging into the deeper issues within their actual faith system.
Yeah, it paints a picture of a show that maybe prioritized, well, entertainment over a more comprehensive look.
And the lack of those external voices, like experts who could give a broader context on polygamy as a social or religious thing that might have limited viewer understanding.
So the focus on just their relationships, like the YouTube host suggests,
Could have overshadowed that bigger picture.
the video also touches on some really sensitive stuff the show has never covered, like Christine's grandfather's murder.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. And allegations of abuse and fraud against leaders within their specific religious group.
Okay, those are huge.
And the host wonders if these major events, things that clearly shape their lives and beliefs, will ever be explored on the show.
The fact that those things haven't been part of the narrative, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? About what's considered okay for TV and what's perhaps deliberately left out.
So, circling back to Garrison's passing, the YouTube analysis brings up that really complicated relationship he reportedly had.
With the show, with Kody, with Robin.
Yeah, it highlights that Garrison was apparently estranged from Kody when he died.
Which is just, yeah, a crucial backdrop for understanding how everything will be portrayed now.
And the detail that Kody apparently didn't go to the scene after being notified.
That's a difficult detail. It suggests pretty significant distance there.
There was also a really poignant point in the video about a text message Garrison allegedly sent
Oh, yeah?
to production and family members, expressing these really conflicted feelings about missing the good times.
Wow. That's incredibly personal.
It really highlights the internal conflict he must have been feeling,
Absolutely. That kind of message gives such a personal, emotional glimpse into his world, his yearning for connection, maybe.
And then add to that, we hear that several siblings reportedly didn't want his death included in the show at all.
Out of respect for his own feelings about it, which just underscores, again, how sensitive this is for the family.
Yeah. The video host also points out that Kody apparently hasn't had some big shift in perspective about his relationship with Garrison.
Really? How so?
Well, in his reflections, he reportedly focused more on wanting to share, later moments with him. Despite the coroner's report indicating alcohol poisoning and the fact that Christine and Janelle had apparently tried to get Garrison help for alcohol issues before.
Huh. So a potential disconnect there. Between Kody's understanding, maybe, and the reality of Garrison's struggles?
That's what the analysis suggests. The YouTube host highlights that potential lack of alignment.
Yeah, the contrast between wanting lighter moments and the serious issues Garrison was facing. That's pretty stark, isn't it?
It is. So ultimately, this without a crystal ball analysis leaves us with this central question, really, for you, the listener, to think about. Considering everything we now know, Garrison's complex feelings about the show, his reported estrangement from Kody, how do you think fans are going to react to the show addressing his death? Is it going to land as a respectful tribute?
Or, as the video title puts it, is it potentially exploitative? A despicable move just for a storyline.
What are your initial thoughts on that tightrope they have to walk?
Well, That question really cuts to the heart of it, doesn't it? How audiences might read the inclusion of such a personal tragedy in, a reality show format.
Yeah.
Your own perspective is likely going to be shaped by how you've seen the family portrayed over the years, and maybe your broader feelings about what's okay for reality TV.
So we've done a pretty good deep dive into this YouTube analysis of the upcoming Sister Wives episode,
We've seen how Garrison Brown's passing is probably going to be a major focus.
alongside all the ongoing relationship shifts and reflections on their past life.
And what really stands out is that inherent tension, between the network deciding to cover something so incredibly sensitive.
And the reported feelings and wishes of the people closest to Garrison.
Exactly. Plus, those questions the analysis raised about the show's history, how it portrayed polygamy, that adds another critical layer to watch for.
When you zoom out and look at this in the bigger picture of reality TV,
Mm.
it really makes you think about the ethical lines, doesn't it? Documenting and sharing such deeply personal tragedies.
How do these shows balance that constant need for viewership with, while being mindful of the impact on the actual people whose lives are being shown?
Garrison's situation just brings all those questions right into sharp, painful focus.
It absolutely does. Which leads to a pretty significant point for you, the listener, to consider as you watch this unfold.
Yeah.
Given all these complexities, all the different perspectives swirling around this, what do you think the responsibility of a reality show is when it decides to address such a profound personal loss?
That's definitely something to mull over as these new episodes start airing.